Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Donjo number 9125-630-RC. This is a extended lip strike, and that is just some peel away film that you see there. Wanted to start that off by explaining that. This is an extended lip strike. And the 9125 is representative of the size, the height, the length of the lip, the fact that it's what they call polybagged. It's shipped in a bag rather than being shipped in a carded box would be typical for this. You can also get it in a carded package if it was a display sort of scenario. Maybe a lock shop would have some slat wall behind the counter and security accessories displayed there. You certainly wouldn't want a 9125. You would want the carded version of that, and we'll get to that part number later on in a moment. The 9125-630, that means that this is both solid stainless, but it's also in a brushed finish, in a brushed satin finish. That's what this would be in. The -RC means radiused corner. And we're dissecting the part number, by the way. Radiused corner would be typical, and that's a 1/4-inch radius. That would be typical and common that you would, for installations that you would see in a residential application, or commercial possibly, where you have a wood frame, certainly, and the corners of the wood frame have not been chiseled or squared out. They've been left radiused. That's when the router goes in with a 1/2-inch bit, leaving a 1/4-inch radius. And then the pre-hanger, the door shop, whomever, doesn't go back and square those corners. The general homeowner is looking to match visually what it looks like and either isn't aware of or isn't interested in squaring the corners if you can get a square corner strike. Luckily, Donjo makes a lot of their strikes available as radius corner so as to preserve the general level of lack of understanding that strikes are generally square corner. But don't worry, there's a radius corner if that's indeed what you have and your sort of application on this. Okay. Now, let's go through the dimensional properties of this item. First of all, it's 2 1/4 tall. This is typically called a full lip strike or a D strike. If you use your imagination, you can see why we would call it a D. Full lip strike because the lip is the full height of the strike. The other important dimension, of course, is the fact that it's 2 1/2 inch. Now, the overall width of the strike is about 3 inch, and that's because strikes are measured from the center line of the screws to the edge of the lip, and that's where the 2 1/2 inch comes in. Now, keep in mind, your typical strike in the 2 1/2 inch relationship to this is about 1 5/16 inches. About 1 1/4 inch, 1 3/8. So this is about 1 1/8 or 1 1/4 greater than standard. Where would you use this? Well, you would use this in an application where you had unusually thick casing on the pull side of the door. You would use this in a scenario like in an exterior door application where the exterior wall, let's say there was a stucco drive-it type compound applied to the face of the wall and then returned back to the face of the frame. As that door closes, the latch bolt will make premature contact with that additional added material before it hits the jamb. You might need it there. Imagine if you had another scenario, a door that had a significant inset. If you stood on the pull side of the door is usually pushed into the frame ever so slightly, 3/32 of an inch, something very small. If you ran your hand over the face of the door and frame, you would notice the door is generally scooched in a little. Sometimes they're flush, but in a wood door, wood frame, they're generally inset. Now imagine if that inset was 1 1/4 inch. Why would you have that? Well, you could. It's not typical, but you could have that, where you will see installations like that where you've got very thick walls, very large jambs, sometimes wide throw hinges, and wide throw hinges can sometimes go hand in hand with an extended lip strike in that scenario where you've got a greater than standard inset. That might be where you'd use this. Finally, you might have a custom cabinet application. Let's say you had a custom kitchen appliances, woodwork trim everywhere, but you had a pantry that was somewhat concealed, and you might have some hardware there that might need an extended lip. While this may not be the strike to use because you might have a roller latch, the concept is the same, where you might need a longer than average lip length. Now, this is going to be available in lots of different lip lengths, different heights, different finishes. There's a link below this video to a document called Template, and by the way, screws are included in a complimentary finish. That link to the template will give you all of the important dimensional details of the item, and the carded version would be the EL125, would be that part number. The template also refers to the other finishes that are available. 605 for polished brass, 609 for antique brass, 619 for satin nickel, 620 for antique nickel, 630 for satin stainless steel, and then a DU, which would be a Duranodic or a dark bronze. They even have, Danjo has even referred to it as oil rub bronze. It's not. It's a dark bronze powder coat over stainless steel and would be complementary to oil rub bronze, but it's not true oil rub bronze. Also, there's a link below this video to a document called Product Catalog, where you can review the 9125 and all of the sister products related to it. If you were to do a find function on your keyboard, Control F, let's say, type in 9125, you get to the table where you'll find all the extended lip 2 1/4 inch strikes, and then commiserately all of the lip lengths that are available. And on that same page are the different heights: 2 3/4, 4 7/8 if you had a steel frame, etc. And then, of course, you'll also be able to look through the balance of the catalog and find associated products as they relate to strike plate sort of work from Danjo. The notable pieces of hardware in there would be on page 1, your typical common strikes that you'll run into. The next page, page 2 and 3, are extended lip variants, and then 3 and 4, page 4 is going to have security strikes. If you had a break-in in a wood frame and you needed a very long piece of steel, maybe prepped for a lock and a deadbolt, etc. The final page is a template that will allow you to review the fact that Danjo can manufacture custom strike plates as well, and you can detail that information and send it to us so we can get a quote. If you've got something truly unique that no strike in their catalog can satisfy the requirements, they'll custom manufacture you a strike. In my experience, they're costly, but not so bad if you needed 30 of them. Anyway, finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Danjo products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog, but all of the subsections of their product catalogs. If you know Danjo, the name Danjo at all, you probably know them for either their door reinforcing wraparound plates or their latch protectors. But as you look through those other subsections, you'll see that they're a comprehensive provider of all things trim and auxiliary hardware related. If you have any questions on the Danjo 9125-630-RC extended lip strike or any other Danjo product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.